Meet Faye, the founder of Freelance Mum and a freelance voiceover artist. She's ambitious, resourceful, creative, determined and strategic. Freelance Mum started in 2013 as a podcast, but soon developed into a networking group with the first meeting of 15 women in Bristol in 2014. During that time, it has now grown to over 100 members based in several areas of the UK. Let's try to summarise Effectuation in under a minute. Whilst these should be considered in the order presented, what is apparent with Freelance Mum is that some stages require a return to earlier ones. Some have led to important changes in the direction of the business, which again then prompted further reflection of motives, values and resources. So bird in hand is knowing who you are, what you know and what you do well in order to understand what you want to do. Affordable loss is being pragmatic and knowing your bottom line, or, as Faye would put it, thinking small is sometimes as necessary as thinking big. Crazy quilt. Well, Freelance Mum could have written the definition for this, as it's building expertise from partnerships and co-creation. Lemonade is dealing with uncertainty, with creativity and energy, and finally, piloting the plane. Your personal control and clarity regarding your direction. Faye identified a need, firstly for herself, after feeling isolated in her role as a freelancer after having children. But she soon realised how beneficial a community of freelance women would be and got to work. Faye's a natural leader, and with her skills in presenting and public speaking, leading the networks came naturally. Faye actively facilitated baby strapping, encouraging mums to come along regardless of the age of their child or children. Whilst Faye freely admits that she invested too much in the initial months, the collaborations which Faye has sought for freelance mums with YTKO, for example, have provided low or even free training to develop the skills of the community. Each focus question, which is delivered on the netwalk, promotes insight and reflection, encouraging each person to speak with a new person every time a new question is set. Faye talks here about her trusted network of women and the value of the quilt.
I suppose what I've learnt is actually you can be ambitious and also you can set the bar low. Like I've realised with the hubs, actually they're really slow burns. You know, like everyone brings something to the party. So there might not necessarily be official roles, but they are my team and they all have my back and I know who I can go to as and when I need them.
As COVID began to dictate our daily lives, Faye had no choice but to rethink the networks. And what presented itself to Faye was an idea which enabled a long-held ambition and gave Faye a new direction for Freelance Mum. The risks which Faye had faced during the early days with high overheads of renting spaces, merchandise and providing teas and coffees were gone with the potential of online meetings. And it also reduced the personal investment which Faye had made over the years. When the opportunity came to reintroduce the netwalks, they were streamlined, including all the valuable business lessons and networking for the Freelance Mum, but with far less costs for Faye.
I ran Freelance Mum for 6 years. Before COVID struck and I pivoted. And prior to that, the whole time, I really, really wanted to scale up. I was desperate to scale up. I've always been quite ambitious, not because I've necessarily wanted to make pots of money, which is just as well because I'm not, but because I just could see big. I could see it was, I had scope and potential.
Exploring the connections between Faye and Freelance Mum and the community she has built identifies how several of the collaborations feed back into Freelance Mum and enable Faye to pilot the plane effectively.
You don't need to spend a fortune. You don't need anything. You just need idea. You need passion and you need drive. You need determination. That might sound really woolly, but you need those things. Talent is nothing without determination. To be wherever you need us, there is a hub. And that we network wherever you need us and that you come together. Just more.
They saw in Faye. As you can see, their answers included several recognisable traits from Effectuation. Lemonade from making things happen, crazy quilting from leveraging her community, bird in hand by being someone you want to be with and follow. I could go on, but this is a 5-minute essay, not a movie. And finally, this is what Freelance Mums means for its members. It's a validation for the business which Faye has put so much energy and effort into.